And we're live. Welcome to Makeover Monday live at TC20. It's great to have everybody here. It's been a while since I've done one of these. I'm busy having cookies, so I'm going to turn it over to Eva to get us started. Nice shirt, Charlie. Pretend you're at the beach in sunny weather. I'm getting some messages on YouTube that the stream is a bit not very smooth. A bit not very smooth is having some issues. So just bear with us. It should catch up. Shouldn't be any lagging or anything. So yeah, just hang tight if it gets like that. So Eva, do you want me to switch over to the slides? Well, one second. There's some people that are saying they can't hear either you or Charlie. I don't know why that would be. So I'm not sure what's going on. So it could be where people are just a few seconds behind. So just let us know if it becomes an issue. Okay. You sound like you're talking from another room, Eva. That's probably because we're in the same room, so I will mute while you're talking. Okay, go ahead. I guess I'm doing the what is Makeover Monday. I'm confused, but I'll go ahead and do it now. Just bear with it for a second, folks. We're going to try to get the audio fixed. Okay, I'll just take everybody through this. I'm not quite sure why we can't hear anybody. It could be maybe because I'm sharing or something like that. But I'll get you started anyway. And yeah, you are hearing Eva through my mic because she's sitting right behind me. So and now you should be hearing an echo. Okay, Eva's coming over here. Okay, all right. I think You should be able to hear me fine now. Still not sure about Charlie, and I don't know why it's not working for you, Charlie. So um, I can still hear you fine. Yes. Okay. Let's see here. So right. So what is Makeover Monday? Let's go back here. So Makeover Monday is about improving how we visualize data one chart at a time. Now, this is year number 5 for Makeover Monday. It started in 2016 officially as a community project, back when Andy Cotgrave asked to do this along with me. I did it by myself for several years, and then Andy wanted to join up. He had gotten kind of out of practice with Tableau, and he saw this as a good reason. And in 2017, 18, and 19, Eva and I did the project together, and in year 5, Eva and Charlie are doing it together. So it is it's a global project, so we're seeing people from all over the world doing this. It's really fantastic, and it's growing. It's growing very, very quickly. Every year, we're seeing more and more people participate, and we're seeing lots of people improve, get jobs through the work, things like that. So hundreds of people every week. We're already have surpassed last year's number of users, so we'll get to that in just a second. But the way that it works, every Monday, typically on Sunday actually, there's a data set and a visualization produced. What you should do when you're thinking about Makeover Monday is think to yourself first what works well with the visualization and what doesn't work well. So do that kind of analysis first before you start creating your own visualization. Now, once you do that, there's also a feedback loop, so you can use the hashtag MMVisReview, and Charlie and Eva run a weekly webinar where they give feedback. And if you use that hashtag, again, it's MMVisReview, they will review it on the webinar. It's usually on Wednesdays, but if you keep an eye on the YouTube channel that you're on now, if you just subscribe, you'll then get a notification that the new sessions have been scheduled. So you're not able to go through every single visualization in that, but they kind of pick and choose and see if they can get a wide variety of visualizations to review. And it's tool agnostic, so if you're a Power BI user, great. If you use Tableau, great. If you use Excel, great. If you want to do it on pencil and paper, that's great. It doesn't really matter. But use it also as an opportunity to learn and to grow your network. So from a learning perspective, make sure when you publish things on your Tableau public profile, keep them all visible. Don't delete old content. It's very important that you show that improvement in your work as you go along the way. So for example, if you go back to my profile or Charlie's or Eva's on Tableau Public, and you go back to the very beginning, you'll be able to see kind of our progression of work. You should show that same kind of thing, because when employers are looking at your portfolio, they're going to see it. They're going to be able to see that improvement and see how, as an employee, wow, you can continually to improve and add more value. Okay, so far through 2020, it's this is week 40 that we have right now. Is that right? Week 40? Yeah, week 40. There have been 7,584 visualizations and over 1,800 participants. I don't know what the numbers are for 2019 off the top of my head. Do you know?
We had fewer visualizations for the whole year
okay.
than we do right now.
Right. So last year there were less than 7,500 visualizations. So we're only in week 40 and we're already at 7,584 visualizations. So great. Right. Okay. So how does it work? I actually talked through some of this already, but the data and the article are posted on data.world on Sundays. You can also get it directly from the Makeover Monday website. That way you get the link directly to data.world. A lot of people do it over the weekend because that's when they have time to do it. There is no deadline though. If you want to look at this week's and do it in 3 months from now or a year from now, it doesn't really matter. The data sets are out there. We just happen to have a topic each week, and those are the topics that get reviewed during Viz Review. So Monday, Tuesday, work on your visualizations. Wednesday is that feedback loop on YouTube, Viz Review. Thursday, think about the feedback. If you got feedback on your visualization or there's something close to what you've done before, or there's a piece of work that's similar to yours, but you want that same feedback, or that you can apply that same feedback to yours, go ahead and do that. Charlie and Eva then start reviewing the visualizations to see which ones they want to include in the favorites each week, and then that process begins to repeat. All right, so why should you join us? So first off, you're getting to work with a different data set each week. So that really is beneficial to you as an analyst because you don't know what the topic's going to be each week. And if you set yourself a time limit, it'll teach you how to have a methodical approach to your visualizations and to your data analysis. So later on in this this session, I'm going to be doing a watch me viz. I haven't seen the data other than I know what the topic is. So it's a way for you to see how I approach a data visualization project. And I go through the same process every week. You can also use it if you want to use it as just a way to practice different chart types. It doesn't have to always be best practices. Maybe you want to learn how to build a sunburst chart or a radar chart or whatever it might be. It's a great opportunity to do that.
I'm raising my finger here. I hope people can hear me okay. They should be able to. And what Annie said is totally true. You feel free to experiment and to do whatever you want with the data. Just know in advance that Charlie and I are likely to call out charts during this review because we want to look at effectiveness. So if you create something that looks super cool and is really hard to understand, we will tell you it looks super cool, but it is really hard to understand. So I just want for people to know that ahead of time.
Okay. But that's kind of where the learning about data visualization best practices comes into play. All right. I talked a bit about your portfolio already. It's a way to showcase your work, your design skills. We're seeing lots and lots of people get new jobs because of their Tableau public profile. Of the Iron Viz, I know last year all 3 contestants participated in Makeover Monday. This year, is it all 3 again? It's at least 2 of 3.
I'm pretty sure Felix also has done it.
Yeah.
I'm not so familiar with his work. We asked this morning, we said, if you found a new job thanks to your portfolio, raise your hand. So if you found a new job or if something good happened to you because of your Makeover Monday portfolio, maybe you can raise your hand with an emoji response on the YouTube chat.
Okay. All right. It's also a great way to get inspiration. So I use it sometimes as a way I might see something like, oh, that looks particularly cool. I want to maybe do that in the future. I'll favorite that on Tableau Public. And then maybe when I find a data set that's similar to it, I'll try to implement a similar practice to that. Right. So it's a great way to learn tips and tricks and different techniques from people all over the world. And you might find things that actually you could do in your day-to-day job. So it can be useful to maybe, sometimes I'll go on a bit of a streak where I do more, work dashboard type of thing. That's probably not the best way to do it. But I typically don't do really crazy creative things because I don't know how to do them. So I stick to what I'm good at and what I know how to do, and I try to make the best of the data from that perspective. Now, previously, we would have done this in person, and last year we had about 1,700 people in person doing Makeover Monday together in Vegas. We can't do that this year because we can't go to Vegas. So we can do it on here instead. But it's a great way if we do get to do it in person. Again, I would highly encourage you to come. It's super fun. You get to meet people you would only know through Twitter. That's one of the things I like the best about the live events in person is getting to meet people that you only know through Twitter. Everybody's very kind and welcoming, and that's one of the things I really like about the community. You'll also find people are very supportive and helpful. If you need help, just put a tweet on, just tweet something, and people will gladly get on and help you. You can also make an impact.
Oh yeah, I get to talk about this. So as you've probably seen, this year we started the collaboration with Operation Fistula around Viz 5, and we previously did collaborations with other non-profit organizations to give them access to our community, because with 1 week they get suddenly over 100, often up to 200 visualizations that tell a story about their data. And those organizations normally have maybe one, if any, data analysts and people who can work and visualize data. So we're partnering with them because they want to tell a story and they don't necessarily know how. And if you say, well, I don't know if I can commit to every week, but I really want this to do this social impact work, then feel free to join us once a month for the VIS5 initiatives, which are all about visualizing gender equality topics. But you can also stay tuned for other potential initiatives we might have coming up in the future.
Okay, I see that I think it was Denise asked Charlie for a link to his Tableau public profile. Unfortunately, Charlie, you can't post links inside of a chat on YouTube, so maybe you can tweet it out instead.
Yeah.
I learned that the other week, wondering why people weren't responding to things. Okay, so.
Oh, yeah. We've got a book. So this section is really about what we do to give you useful resources. And I want to mention the Makeover Monday book because not only does it contain literally 300 visualizations from the community featuring their Makeover Monday work, but it's all about the best practices and how to approach data visualization. And it's written for people at any level. So if that's something you're interested in, I highly recommend you get the book. But there's also a new one, and I have included the link. So this is the book that has just come out. It's my new book called Empowered by Data, where I spoke to quite a few people and organizations about how they're using analytics communities to drive, data-driven decision making, but also how they have built those communities and what it means, how it made change in their organization. And it was really fun to write. I'm very proud of it. The cover design is by Sam Parsons, who you probably know from the community. And because of COVID, all this print work has been delayed. So the link that you see at the top of the screen is for the ebook version that comes at a discount. So it's about $11 cheaper if you go to US dollars than the print version. And you can use that straight away, get it today and read it. The print is available on Amazon, and it will come out. It's for pre-order in the US and the UK. So if you want the print version, that's also fine. I'd love for you to have it. And somebody asked if there's a discount. Yes, there is a discount. If you follow the red link at the top of the screen, the discount is for the ebook. There's also one that I will share for the Makeover Monday book that has been discounted on the same platform, Red Shelf. But that's only for the ebooks at the moment. What happens with the print, I'm not sure. That's something that Amazon and the publisher dictate.
So I think what Eve is saying is apparently printers stopped working along COVID as well. So even though they're machines, they somehow got affected by COVID. But
also the shipping
yeah.
and all that. And Andy read this book, so he can recommend it, right?
Yeah, I highly recommend it. It's the only book that I know of that's actually about the communities within organizations rather than a technical book. So yeah, if you're looking to build a community within your organization, I'd highly recommend it. Okay, so Viz Review. So Charlie, you want to? No, they can't hear Charlie.
Oh, okay.
So
Sorry.
You want to go ahead?
I can. So we briefly mentioned this earlier, but Viz Review is something I really, really recommend you join. Charlie and I love doing this. It's my highlight of the Makeover Monday week every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to Andy's channel that you're on right now, because that's where we're going to do this in the same format, YouTube Live. And you can join us and make sure to use the hashtag MMVizReview, and we'll, like Andy said, we'll put together a collection of vizzes that we'll review. But there's also really fun banter going on in the live chat during it. And it's really helpful even if you didn't submit a viz or you didn't submit your viz for review. You can learn from what we tell others. And what we typically see is there's about 70 people dialed in, but we might only go through 20 visits. But you can learn from what we talk about with regard to the other visualizations. And we're going to do that again this week. We just haven't scheduled it yet, but make sure to stay tuned for that. Oh yeah, I'll talk about favorites. So favorites is a way for us to showcase people's work that has been really good for each specific data set. So we publish that on a Friday, and you can find it on the Makeover Monday website, makeovermonday.co.uk. And /blog, and that's where we publish them. And what I do for my weeks is, well, every week I publish a video with the lessons learned, because we used to write a very elaborate blog post every Friday, but it was too time consuming, and I want to find a way to bring it back without the time consuming part. So every Friday you get a video from me with the lessons learned for the week, typically, something that was good, something that we can all still improve on. And for the weeks where I provide the data set, I also share my favorites and why I picked them. And I found from people's comments that they found it really useful to hear what I liked about particular visualizations so that they can understand that better. And there's a link at the bottom of the screen to my YouTube channel, so I invite you to subscribe so that you can see those videos come out as well.
Right, so how can you get involved? It's pretty simple. First off, obviously you need the data, but also read the article that is accompanied with it. So that's there intentionally to help give you context and see why are you making over this particular visualization. But the neat thing is, or the reason I always read the article is because I might find something in the article that I didn't get from just looking at the data. So there could have been a certain intent that the author was trying to get across that they wrote about, but it didn't come through in the visualization. And then maybe I'll use that as a place to start when I create my visualization. So after you get the data, obviously you analyze and visualize it, publish it and share it on Twitter with the Makeover Monday hashtag. If you want the feedback, use the MMVisReview hashtag. And then, of course, you should join that so that you can learn about the feedback that Eva and Charlie give you, and then iterate on it, share it again. And then there's also a submission form on the Makeover Monday website, so I can show you that. Oh, there we are. Let me see here. So I need to, 1 second, folks. Oh, it's not letting me, hang on a second. Oh, you can't minimize Zoom. Okay, so it's not letting me switch screens. Sorry, I'm just going to try to, okay, well, that didn't work very well. Sorry. It's because I've got the video. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, there's a submission form on the Makeover Monday website where you can submit your visualization, and then yeah, we keep track. There's a tracker on there, so if you want to see how you're progressing, that's a good way to do it. Right, so the important places for Makeover Monday, first off, to get the data, you want to go to the page where all the data is. The data on that page goes all the way back to 2016, so if you want to look at data back to then, you can. Again, if there's certain weeks where you like the topic, go ahead and pick those weeks. Then you can submit it on the submission page. That's makeovermonday.co.uk/submit. And then all of the webinars, the Watch Me Viz, the Viz Review, those are all on YouTube at youtube.com/Andy Kriebel. If you're already subscribed but you're not getting the notifications, unsubscribe and then resubscribe again, and that button should become enabled. I had it disabled somehow at some point, and I made one change, but you have to switch it off and back on if you're not getting the notifications. On Twitter, there's obviously the Makeover Monday hashtag. You can tweet to Eva and Charlie at the handles you see on the screen. And then, so Eva's blog, where she writes about the what she likes, doesn't like, and her visualization is on trymydata.com. And then Charlie is learningtableaublog.wordpress.com. There are a few letters in the alphabet he didn't use, so we're going to have to get him to change his URL. And then Eva's weekly video recap is on youtube.com/C/Eva Murray. You probably could customize that.
That's the customization.
Oh, okay. Right. So here's the deal. So this week's data set is looking at the U.S. counties with the highest economic output. The data set that you will receive is by county. I think this one might be by metro area, because I see like San Francisco, Oakland, and Berkeley are together, so that'd be like San Francisco Bay Area. But the idea is still the same. Interestingly, I've lived in 3 of the 10 places on here. I grew up in Philadelphia. I then lived in Atlanta for 15 years, and then the Bay Area for 3 years. So, oh, that's pretty interesting. So I'm 30% of the way through here. Okay, so it looks like we have metro areas, their economic output, and it looks like this is just for 2018, so you can see that on the bottom left of the viz. And we have these like cone-shaped things, which apparently you're supposed to be able to compare the sizes of, but good luck with that. I'd like you to compare the size of, you know, one of those small ones in Dallas with maybe the one up in Portland, Oregon on the upper left. Yeah, good luck with that. So not the best visualization. So what does work about this is it's a map. You know where you probably have heard of most of these cities. They're all just major metropolitan areas, so I would assume you've heard of them. But we also don't have a lot of context, and it's only data for 1 year. So what has happened over the years? That'd be a question that I might ask. And also, maybe the surrounding counties, how are those doing as well? There's lots of questions you could ask of this data. Okay, so it's over to you now. So we're going to set a timer for 60 minutes. Again, you can get the data, publish it up to your Tableau public and Twitter profile. And if you want it to be reviewed on this live stream later on after the hour, make sure you submit it at makeovermonday.co.uk/submit. Then there's a little checkbox on there that says that, do you want it reviewed or something like that on this this session. So check that box if you would like them to review it for you.
And only use that checkbox if it's a viz about this week's data set, because we had 5 people use it, but none of their vizzes were about this week's data set, so we had to ignore it.
Yep. Okay, and a single chart's fine. Don't worry about if you don't finish. There is no requirement for it to actually be a dashboard. It can just be a chart. That's perfectly fine. Yep, and remember, it's not a competition. We're all in this just to continue to improve every single week. All right, so I think that's it. I will set a timer somehow, but I'm also going to, maybe I'll just go ahead and set a timer. So 60-minute, 60-minute timer.
Until 6:30 our time.
Yep. So I'm just going to go ahead and start the timer. There we go. So the timer is now running. So you've got till about 6:30 p.m. our time. And okay, so while you guys are working on it, if you want to, you could just watch my screen as well, or do either or neither. It's up to you. But I'm going to go ahead and do a little watch me viz session. And yeah, if you want to see how I approach this data set, just hang tight here. And we will be back in about an hour to review any visualizations that you submit. Again, remember that when you do the submission, check the box at the bottom, but only check it if you're submitting for this week. Please don't check the box if it's for any other week.
And we welcome everyone who is just watching to stay on the chat with us, with Charlie and me, because we're already done, so we're going to just chat. And,
okay.
Or to just watch, or to build your viz, of course. And if you forget to post in the checkbox, then, just maybe on Twitter, mark it somehow or something so we can find it.
Yep. Okay. So not sure what link this, I can't read his name, but I'm not sure what link he's looking for. But if you just go to makeovermonday.co.uk/data, you'll find what you're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with my visualization. You're welcome to leave commentary on the YouTube chat. And Eva and Charlie, you're going to be giving commentary as well on there because I was quite mean to them earlier.
You were very mean.
Okay, so Charlie, I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share for now and drop you off. Okay, so there's Charlie and Eva. All right, so I'm going to minimize you guys and go ahead and get started. So let's see here. Oops. So I'm going to go out to the data.world page. And everything is slow on my computer now because of running OBS. It slows my whole machine down for some reason. Usually data.world is like super fast, so something's going on in the background. Okay, so So we're looking at the U.S. counties with the highest economic output. I already talked about the visualization, so I'm going to skip that part, and I'm going to go directly. You see the source article here, so I'm going to go to that. And I'm also going to bring up the data source just so I can double check and make sure that I understand what it's telling me as well. All right, so this is the map of the U.S. cities. The idea is the same, though. We're going to be looking at counties, but this is, and these actually aren't even cities, so the title's wrong, because San Francisco, Oakland, and Berkeley are actually 3 cities. So you shouldn't be combining them into one and call it a city. All right, U.S. is the world's largest economy. A few select cities are responsible for a large share of the country's total economic output. Okay, the unique 3D map puts the city corridors. Okay, so this particular fact, so I'm just going to go ahead and start writing down some things here. So this particular fact, a few selected cities, I'm going to maybe look at a Pareto chart for that, or a potato chart. If you make it brown and make it look like a potato. Okay, so it just lists the 10 areas, the state codes. Okay, coming in fourth is San Francisco. All right, so these paragraphs are really just repeating what's in the text. Geographers also think of urban life in broader terms as well. Given the proximity to cities in the Northeast, some of these areas are grouped into a single mega region. So maybe I want to look at regional level. Okay. Telling all urban and rural areas, every state economy can be compared in the size of the. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. So this is saying U.S. states renamed for countries with similar GDP. So California's GDP is about the same as the UK. That's take that, Charlie. South Korea is the size of New York. What are some other, any other interesting ones on here? So Florida is the size of Mexico. That's pretty interesting. Texas competes with Canada. Okay, so there's not really much context in this. I mean, it looks like the article is basically just regurgitating what's in the table. Okay, oops. Looks like everything's zoomed in. So I'm going to go over to the Bureau of Economic Analysis, I think it is. Is that right, Charlie? I think. Bureau of Economic Analysis. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so this particular map here, so let's see what this is here. All right, so here, percent change in real GDP by county 2018. Okay, so this might be one way to look at it. So change in GDP. I'm assuming this is going to be versus prior year, but we don't know because they don't tell us. All right. Anything else on here? Gross domestic product estimates the value it can be used. Okay. All right, so not much more on there. Okay, so let's just go ahead and connect to the data. I've gone ahead and downloaded it already. Normally you would go over to data.world and just click the little download button here, and Charlie made it available both in Hyper and CSV. Okay, so I've got that. Looks like I've got the year. Let me see, I'm going to click on describe and load. Okay, so I've got 18 years worth of data. This is the FIPS code for each county. And it looks like each county is grouped into, obviously it's part of a state, and then the states are part of a subregion, which are part of a region. Okay, now you have to be careful with the counties because county names are repeated across states. So for example, you know, Oxford County, I'm sure, is in more than one state. So you have to be careful with that so that you're not just looking at counties, because then you might be aggregating the data together when you don't need to. And then we have this like GDP chained dollars. So what does that mean? Chained GDP dollars. Okay, I want to make sure I understand what that means. Inflation adjusted measure. Okay. hang on a second. Let me go back here. Okay, so chained dollars is a method for adjusting real dollar amounts for inflation over time to allow. Okay, so it's just a way, it's just kind of like inflation adjusted numbers to make them comparable. Okay, that's fine. So basically that means that 2001 would probably be adjusted up to $2018 or whatever the base is in order to make those years comparable. All right, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply look at the data over time. And we can see that we've gone from 13 trillion up to 18 trillion. Now this is really, really hard for me to look at. So I'm going to, okay, interesting. It does it as trillion on the axis, but I don't believe I can format by trillions. So if I go to number custom, I'm going to put a $sign before, and if I put it in billions, I can see I've got like 18,000 billions, but I wonder if I go into custom, if I can make it a T. I've never tried this before, so let's see what happens here. Okay, all that did was put a T at the end. So maybe I need to, I wonder if I did 4 commas instead. Oh, look at that. Look at that, Charlie. Take that. So number custom. Okay, so I'm going to do it to 1 decimal. And then I'm going to set it to billions. I'm going to do that again, make sure I understand what it's doing. So right now this is 1824.2 billion. Go to custom. 0. Okay, so I just need to put in 1 more comma, I think. I think that worked. 18.2, and then make it a T. And make it a T. Ah, there we go.
It seems to be really laggy. I don't know if you can click on something there to...
Yeah, there's a bit of a lag here. I don't really think there's much I can do. I think it's just because we're using up all the bandwidth in the house. It just says it's maintained. It should catch up. Yeah, I can see it lagging on the screen now. So let's see. Could try to view it in a different browser and see how it's like. Log in a different, log in like, no, go into like Edge or something like that. Yeah. And then just don't sign in. Okay, sorry about the bandwidth. I'm not quite sure what I can do about that, but it looks like it's, okay, the screen's frozen. Okay, let me know if it catches up, please. All right, I think I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can hear you talk.
Okay.
Oh, it just caught up.
Okay, great. So for those of you that didn't see it, let me do that again. So let me format, and I'm going to, by the way, if a number is bold here, I think I do, oh, there's a zoom button. Well, okay, so if you see here on Tableau, you'll see that we've got a number in bold. I'm curious to see if it actually zooms in on the screen. But if you click on that or right click on it, you can clear it, and that'll reset the reset it back to the default. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make this in trillions, and Tableau actually doesn't give us a custom number format of trillions. So I'm going to set the decimal places to 1. I'm going to prefix, and you'll see my display units. I don't have trillions as an option, so I'm just going to choose the B. And really what I want to do is I want to divide this by 1,000 to get it to be in trillions. So I'm going to go to the custom option, and hopefully it zooms in. I don't know if it zoomed in when I did that a minute ago. So, okay, so not quite sure why this is lagging so much. Okay, now it's not letting me do it anyway. So if you can probably look really closely, you'll see commas. So I'm just going to add in commas. So now there's 4 commas, and I'm going to change the B to a T. And there we go. So now I've got trillions. All right, learn something new every day. And maybe I could look at it by region, and that's not, just kind of looks like candy. Subregion, maybe I'll do that as well. All right, so that's not particularly useful either. All right, maybe state. This is really going to be a mess. Let me put it on detail instead, and I'm going to show the highlighter. And I imagine what we're going to see here is California is probably at the top, and then I'm going to guess Texas is probably second, and maybe New York third. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, so one thing that might be neat to look at then is if I look at each state, and if I want these to be spark lines, I'm going to, first off, I'm just going to get rid of the labels for now. And if I want these to be spark lines, the first thing I'm going to do is going to edit the axis. I'm going to edit the axis. And I'm going to uncheck the include zero and make them independent. That treats, you see it kind of fills up the space. And I'm going to just grab the right-hand side and shrink it down and make them nice and small. Okay, so this is a nice little spark line here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll label the min and the max for each one. Okay, that looks terrible. So I'm going to undo that. But I want there to be a little line on the end. So I'm going to edit my axis. I'm sorry, I want to put the label on the end of the line. So I just need to give it a bit more breathing room on the right-hand side. So maybe I'll make it like 2022. And see if that works. So now if I go to label.
Is it your turn tomorrow for Tableau Tip Tuesday as a tip?
I could.
Because people asked for it in the chat, but I think that's just a bit, didn't get lost.
Okay, so I'm going to label the maximum value. So if I do the line ends, show mark labels. So I got the beginning and the end. I only want to label the end, but I'd like to have the tiny little dot. You see when you hover over, you get that little dot. I find those little dots kind of sexy. So I'm going to change my mark label to min-max. And you'll see now it labels the minimum maximum value, but I want it to label the end of the line. So I'm going to go to the field section, and I want it to give me the maximum year. Now I changed the label to the year. So all I have to do is grab my chain GDP and copy it onto the label shelf. And there we go. So now we have our trillions. And I'm going to go ahead and uncheck show header. And now I would probably go ahead and sort these then by state. So I want to sort the field by state. Okay, now we get California at the top and then Texas, etc. So I don't think that looks too bad. So maybe I'm just gonna play around with the formatting a bit and make them even a bit smaller maybe.
The screen is still paused.
Okay, and then okay. All right, so let's see if that's any better now. Okay, hopefully that cleans it up. I changed a couple settings in the streaming service. All right, so I've got my spark lines here. I don't know if I'm going to keep those or not, so I'm just going to call those spark lines. And one of the other things that I made note of was that I wanted to look at maybe a Pareto chart. A few select cities. All right, so I'm going to create a new sheet. I'm going to create a combined field for state and county. I guess I could do that. I could just do county FIPS probably because that's going to be a unique number, and then I could, yeah, I'll do that. So I'm going to put county FIPS on here. Don't worry about if the names don't make sense. And I'm going to put the change. So this is going to be for all years, and I'm just going to go ahead and hit sort descending. And now what I need to do is I need to add a table calculation, or no, I need to flip the chart. And I want to add a table calculation. So my Pareto calculation is first going to calculate a running total. And I'm going to choose specific dimensions and tell it to compute by FIPS. And then I'm going to add a secondary calculation, which is my percent of total by FIPS. Okay, so now we can see if I make this fit the entire view, it looks kind of terrible because these are all bars. Maybe I'll change it to a line and we can see some things here. But what we want to do is we want to be able to convert this x-axis to a number as well. So I'm going to duplicate the county FIPS down to the detail shelf, and I'm going to sort that again. It's really weird that the sort doesn't get maintained, but so I want to sort by field, chain GDP descending. Okay, so now I want to make this a measure and count distinct, and then I want to make it a running total by FIPS, and then a secondary calculation by FIPS. Okay, so now we can see, and I'm just going to put the county onto the tooltip because that'll make it an attribute, so I don't have to worry about it with my table calc, and I'm going to put the state on the tooltip as well. All right, so now we can see that if I go near 80%, we can see that 14% of the counties make up 80% of the GDP. Wow. So I'm going to drag both of these calculations down to the measures area to save them. So this is my Pareto GDP. And then I'm going to drag the counties down. I'm going to call this one, where'd that go? Rename Pareto counties, count of counties, something like that. All right, so what I could do now is I could put some reference lines on here. So I'm going to, first I'll just make them averages for now. And then I'm going to edit this one. And I want this to be a constant at 20%, so 0.2. I'll go ahead and leave the label on for now. I'm going to make it a dotted line and maybe make it darker. Okay, so something like that. You can see I've left my 20% label down there. And then I'm going to edit my 80% line, make this a constant, 0.8. And leave the label on, set the tooltip to none, and then make it the same formatting. Okay, so we get something like that. So we can see that for us, actually, we want it to be, we see that we actually have this, so we are, what this means is the US economy is more dependent on a fewer number of counties for the economy. I don't know if that makes sense how I described that, but 13% of the counties make up 80% of the GDP. So that'd be similar to saying 13% of the products at your company make up 80% of your revenue. So if any of those products goes bad, then you're at a higher risk. So yeah, not that the counties are going to go away, but just something to think about. Okay, so I'm not sure if I'm going to use that or not, but it's there. Maybe I'll make it an area chart, and then I'm going to duplicate this and make this one a line, and then dual axis and synchronize. Okay, so I'm doing this because I want to see, I like seeing kind of the dark line there, so maybe I'm going to reduce maybe I'll make that gray. I don't know. You see I do a lot of fiddling with it. Maybe reduce the opacity. All the formatting stuff that takes ages. Okay, I could even maybe make the line a bit fatter to make it stand out a bit more. Yeah, something like that. So there's our Pareto chart. And I'm going to hide that axis. We'll come back to that later. Okay, so one of the other things is regional level and then change in GDP. Okay, so that map looked at the change from the prior year. So what I want to do is I want to get the, first off I want to get the latest year. I'm going to do this as a calculation in case, let's say for some reason in the future I update this data set and I get data for 2020. Right now it goes through 2018, but if it gets updated I want my charts to update automatically. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a level of detail expression that starts with a mustachio, and I'm just going to do max year. And I didn't fix it on anything, so that means just give me like the overall maximum year. So, and Tableau is going to put that as a measure because it thinks it's something it should count. So I'm going to drag that up. And if I put that onto text, you'll see it just gives me 2018. So that's great. So now what I want to do is I want to say latest year GDP. So I'm going to say if year equals my latest year, then GDP, end. Okay, and so now if I see my latest year, I see I've got 18 million. I'll show you how this works actually. So if I put year up on columns and I make it discrete, you see I only have data for 2018 because that's the way that I wrote that latest year calculation. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate my latest year and see what, so I'm going to look at prior year. And so I want to say max year -1. And then I'm going to duplicate that field and call this my prior year GDP. And then I'm just going to replace latest year with prior year. And if I put that field, where'd it go, onto my, you'll see I now get both years in there. If I take measure names off, it'll make a bit more sense. And I've got those 2 years, and I can look at the year over year. So let's see, latest, I'll just call it year, yeah, latest versus prior year. Or I'll call it LY, so latest year. I don't know if I'll remember what that is later, but I want to look at latest year minus the prior year. And I want to make this a percentage. So I'm going to wrap those in parentheses or brackets and divide that by the sum of the prior year. And let's change the number format for that to a percentage to 1 decimal. And if I put that on color, I should be able to see what it's doing. So I'm getting null. That's fantastic. Let's see. Let me try something here. So put that on text. Okay, so it's 2.9% overall. So, okay, so now if I look at, let's see, if I'm just going to look at it at the, for now, at the region level, and so let's see if it works. So let's put year up on the columns and make it discrete. I'm going to put my GDP on the table. And then I'm going to put my last year versus prior year on the table as well. And I only get a value, I'm not getting a value at the end because year is in the view. So that doesn't make sense. Oh, yeah. So if I take year off the view, it will work. Okay, so let's do latest year GDP, prior year GDP. And then let's just get rid of that and get rid of year. Okay, so that looks like it's probably correct. So 3.7 divided by 3.5 minus 3.5 divided by 3.5, that's 5.7%, but I'm looking at much larger numbers. So let's say 273727 and 3572. So 0.04. Yeah, so that looks right. Okay, so my calculation looks correct. So that's good to know. And let's just go ahead and get rid of those two. So now I'm just looking at which regions changed the most, but the original, or the other one that I looked at was this map. So I'm going to create that same map. So I want to do county on detail. Come on. Okay, and I've got it's showing me UK counties right now because my these just happen to be names that match the UK. So I put state onto detail. And I've got this unknown errors because my default location is set up to the UK. So I just need to change my state to USA. Come on. And hit OK. And now I should get all of those. I'm going to, for now, I'm just going to get rid of Alaska and Hawaii. Sorry, Alaska and Hawaii. and to exclude those. Okay, and then I'm going to change my mark type to a map. And if I look at my last year versus prior year, I should get something similar to that. Yep, but they're using all blues. I wouldn't do that because I have a discrete color palette. So yeah, so it goes from minus 44 to 0.04. Okay. And oh look, our scales are exactly the same, so we must have done something right there. Right. Oh, mouse batteries are low. Okay, but this doesn't look particularly good, so maybe if I make the borders like very light colored, oh, that's really bad. And turn off the halos. I still don't particularly, I don't particularly like this particular view because there's no real concentrations of anything. So let me increase the color. I mean, you can see like some darker stuff in the middle, which means that those are the extremes, but there's no like regional concentrations or anything like that. So I don't find that particularly useful. What if we just look at latest year, and if we look at, let's look at it by state and by county. Let me just, and then I'm going to create a set here. Exclude Alaska and Hawaii. This will be a bit quicker when I put it into the view. So I'm going to create that set. I can just drag it onto the filters and they're gone. Okay, so maybe I'll leave it as dots for now, and I want to look at just maybe just the chained GDP. And we're probably going to get, so let me leave it as circles. Yeah, and we just basically get a few points that stand out. Okay, so that's not very useful either. Okay. So let me look back. I think I remember a Workout Wednesday that might be useful. So let me go to Workout Wednesday from 2019. Come on. Okay. I like using these. This is why. So last week I did something like this tile map, so I won't do that again this week because, I mean, I could, but that feels like it'd be a bit of cheating. We could put the states in small multiples. Let's see. Okay, so here's my trellis calculations. So if I go back here, and if I duplicate my spark line, okay, so I'm going to create a calculated field. I'm going to call this one columns. Okay, so I'm just going to try to create like a small multiples view. All right, I'm going to make both of these discrete. I'm going to put column in the columns, row in the rows, and move state to detail, and compute each of these using state. Okay, and then let me, I'm going to clear manual sizing, and I'll make it fit the entire view. Oh, so that looks pretty cool. Now, if I undo the axis, you can see some of these are very, very straight. But wonder if I make it the chain, instead of making it since, or just making it the value, I could make this, what if I make this a change since the first year? So percent difference from, so I want to do pane across, yep. So for each state relative to the first. Okay, so now we can see the growth or decline of each of those. So we got, so everything's starting at 0 now. So we can see North Dakota had some kind of boom here, and then a bust, and then through like that. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. Now this number is wrong, so I'm going to need to copy this onto here. Why is that? So default properties, let's say format, and I just want to clear that. Now to give me the percentage change. This should be the same, so format. Okay, we're good to go. Now I can't sort by table calc, unfortunately, or otherwise I would. That would be nice. Okay, so this is just showing me the change since then. Okay, I don't mind that so much. Now, what I would probably want to do here, I don't know, maybe I'll leave that one for now. If I make it an area chart, and then let me duplicate, so something similar to what I did a minute ago. Make this a line, and then dual axis, and synchronize. And on the area chart, I don't have a label, so I'm just going to move that to, I can just get rid of it actually. Okay, so we got something like that, and hide the header. So we got a bit of a better view. Now the only issue now is I don't have a mark for the state. So I think what I'll probably do is let's see. I can probably just put the state onto the label as well, and I get that's probably good enough. Yeah, for now. The only issue is they don't all line up nice and neat, which I don't like. But okay, so I'm going to undo that. So all right, let's just leave it for now. So not sure I love this one, but it's not terrible before. Okay, any comments right now? Let's see. Is it good for those in brackets mustachios? Yeah. Okay, Charlie's responding to questions. Right. So what I could do is maybe I want to look at if I look at, I think I already did this last year versus prior year. So what I could do is I could get the first year. So let me duplicate this, and I'm going to call this my first year. And I'm just going to say min of year. And then I could do duplicate, and I'm going to say first year GDP. Oh, I've only got a few minutes left. If that equals first year, then that. And then if I duplicate this one, so this is going to be last year versus first year. And the only thing you need to change here is put first year GDP. Okay, and I'm going to put that on color instead. Okay, and there's a few that, wow, some of these had massive growth, all in Texas. They must be related to oil. North Dakota, that's got to be oil as well. I wonder if I'm just going to, just for curiosity, I'm going to show the filter here, and I'm only going to look at things that have positive growth, and then maybe only look those that have grown by more than 100%. Oops. Let's see, undo. So it should be 0.1, not 100%. Yeah, so these are all those that grew by more than 100% in the last, wow. That's really interesting. Okay. Right, so I was looking at some views that I thought there was one in particular that's popping out in my head. Where is it here? Okay, it must be from 2020 then. Let's see. I could look at maybe something like that. If I looked at maybe each region, and then maybe I put each state and county on detail, and I look at my latest year GDP, make them circles. And then I'm going to just do random, everybody's favorite hidden function, and make that an average. Okay, so now if I squeeze it out a bit, this will show me the outliers really nicely. So this is LA. Yep. But now I could even swap this out, so I could do last year versus prior year. And now I can see, that's interesting. So let me put that on color. So we can see kind of a clear distinction here. So maybe I put a constant line across the, let's see, latest year at 0. Come on, stupid line. It's so difficult to select these. Here we go. Format. Okay, I'm just trying to see how many counties are above and below. That's pretty interesting. So I'm seeing lots that are above and below. So maybe I don't mind that one too much. I could even, if it makes more sense, so I'm going to get rid of the borders. I could even just make it 2 colors. So if I edit the colors for this, I could go to maybe, I don't know, red and blue, and just make it 2 colors. And I just want to make sure the center is 0. Then we could see that a bit better, maybe reduce the opacity a bit. So now we can see kind of the clusters. So entire view, there we go. Well, that's pretty neat. Maybe I will then sort the regions, because not quite sure why they're in this order. Oh, they're in alphabetical order. Duh. So let's do field descending by last year versus prior year. That's probably going to be confusing. So when I just do it by the change, or no, latest year GDP. Okay, there we go. Right. So Jackson, West Virginia. Huh. All right. So this is a maybe. So this is my what do I want to call this one? My jitter. Let's wrote jitter plot. So I'm going to color that one in red. Okay. So there was another one though. So we did this one. We did something like this. So I don't need that. There's also, so we could do that. But there's another one I was looking for. Where the heck? Oh, I'm looking in the wrong folder. Workout Wednesday is what I wanted. Maybe that's why I couldn't find it in the first place. Yeah, so I'm looking in the wrong place. I looked at the wrong folder, so Workout Wednesday 2019. No, this is where I was. Maybe it was 2018 then. Workout Wednesday 2018. All right, let me just look. I'm just going to scan through everything that this is a good reason to also save everything that I create as a picture in Google Photos. So this is like, I'm sure this is like watching paint dry as I do this. I just want to find it so I make sure I create what I was thinking of. Oh, this is going to annoy the hell out of me. I know I could find it on my Tableau public profile, but I think it took a while for me to find it last time. Well, I think, yeah, I'm not going to be able to find it. It's going to take me too long. Okay, let me just build it. So first thing I want to do is I'm going to create a parameter. I'm going to call it state parameter. Just make it a string, and maybe I'll just make it Florida for now. Let me just show that. And I'm going to call this my state filter, state match. So state equals state parameter. Okay, so let's make this a map and put state in the view. And I'm just going to do state match here and true. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to format my, not format, I want to go to my map layers and wash it out. So then I just have the state there. And I'm going to set the opacity to none and maybe give it like sorry, wrong thing, maybe the border here. Okay, something like that. And then I'm going to duplicate my latitude. And on this one, I'm going to put county. So county on detail. And I want these to be circles and to be maybe my latest year GDP. And let me just, now I'm going to dual axis these. And I should see my circles. Okay, great. If I make them circles instead, and then I need to turn my opacity on, there we go, and turn my border off. And why is there a halo? God, this drives me nuts. Maybe I'll make them a bit bigger, something like that. Do you guys see that little halo on there? It looks terrible. So let me format this and get rid of the row and column dividers. All right, so that's going to give me, so that'll give me the counties for a particular state. So state selected. And what I want to do now is I want to create that small multiples view again. And I'm going to put, this time I'm going to make it a map, but I'm going to just put state on the detail shelf. And you see I get each state shape, which is pretty cool. So I want to compute using state. And I'm going to copy, no, that's fine, just leave it like that for now. Make it fit entire view. And I want to sort the states by the latest year GDP. Okay, and then I'm going to, for each of these states, so I want to add the, so I'm going to do average of let's see, how do I want to do this? Let me just do average of 1. Okay, so I'm going to, I'll show you in a second why I'm doing this. So I'm going to try to center these now. So 0.5 and 1.5. Anybody that's done a workout Wednesday, like this particular workout Wednesday, you might recognize it when we're done. And then on this one, I'm going to do average of 1.5. Okay, so now on this one, I want this to just be text. I want the state to be on text. And I want their latest year GDP on text. Okay, and let me default properties number format. And I'm going to do my little trick again here with the dollar signs, billions. I know I'm going fast now, but I've only got a few minutes left. So, and then I need to default properties number format, go into custom, add a comma, make it a T, and make it a T. Okay, and then I'm going to put latest year versus prior year on text as well. Right, and then let me dual axis and synchronize. Oh, I don't need to, yeah, so I need to synchronize from over here. And then I'm going to go to my all marks card and get rid of measure names. Okay, so copy formatting, paste formatting. So that gets rid of the grid lines, format. I know I'm going quick, but that's okay. All right, so in this one on my labels, I want to have the state, and I'm going to put the rank next to that, but I need to create the rank first. And then I'm going to have that versus prior year. Okay. Now, why is my state not showing up? I must need to give it, maybe this needs to be 1.75 perhaps. Okay, that didn't help. So let me just try something. If I put this in here, okay. Huh. Well, that's annoying. So state is in the view. I'm going to try something real quick just to put, if I put state here, do I get the state? Okay, so it must have something to do with the spacing then. All right. I know what it is. It's because I set the axis to go from 1 to 1.5. So if I make this 1.75, there we go. And let me just go ahead and include, actually I probably don't need any of my tooltips, but that's okay. So show header. Right, so now what I've done is I have each state, I have the latest year and the prior year. And so my state, I want to do the same thing here. So I want to set the border to the map, and I'm going to reduce the opacity to 0. And I'll come back and size them later. Maybe I'll just increase them a bit for now, because I'll have to go back and forth between here and the dashboard. So I want to latest year rank. So I want to do rank of the sum of the latest year GDP. And I'm going to put that onto the text shelf. Okay, and then latest year rank, default properties, number format. I'm going to make it a number, and I'm going to put a number sign at the beginning. Okay, so now if I go here, okay, maybe I'll make this like a gray, make this maybe bigger and bold, and then so okay, something like that. So now California is number 1, etc. Okay, so now what I want to be able to do is I'm going to create a dashboard here. So floating, oops, and let's set this to, okay, so it's going to fill up the space. And then I want to put, oops, I'll make that tiled, state selected, and then my sheet 10. And I need to go to layouts, get rid of this tiled guy. That gets rid of all the crap in the background. Okay, so my state selected, so I need to change the opacity on that, so I can kind of see through them a bit more. Maybe I'll change the color on these and maybe make them like a bluish color. So this one's going to show the counties, and then this one's going to show the states. And what I want to do is I want to be able to click on a state and it swaps it over to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a dashboard action, and it's going to change a parameter. I'm going to call it update state parameter. It's going to go from from sheet 10. On select, it's going to update my state parameter with the field state. And what I should see now is when I click on New York, that swaps out to New York, Florida, etc. Okay, that works great. Now I need to create a new calculated field. And this is Charlie. I'm going to put that on the all marks card. And the reason I'm putting that on here is because when I click on a state, you see how it highlights the state right now. I don't want it to do that. So dashboard actions, and I'm going to make it a filter action. So dummy filter. And let's see, sheet 10 is going to go to sheet 10, show all, select, run on single select. And I'm going to go from the dummy to something that's not in the view. So let's say like subregion. And what you should see now is when I click on Montana, it just updates that to Montana. Okay, great. So what I want to do on here then is in my title, I'm going to have, let's see, actually what I can do here is on the map, I can put that on label, and I'm going to put my latest year GDP on the label. So that's going to give me the GDP for the entire state. So let's go here. Oh, come on. Let's make that maybe 22. And let's make this maybe 12. Just see what it looks like. Okay, so that's in the middle. Maybe I'm probably going to need to go over and check it on the other page first. So let's go here. And then you see now it's not showing. So why is that? Well, that's quite annoying. So allow overlap maybe. Well, that's kind of sucky. All right. What the hell? That is very annoying. Yeah, I don't want to do that because that's going to show them for all the circles as well. So label, maybe if I do top, I don't know. That's really stupid. So let me just make it bigger. There we go. Okay, so it's just not big enough. So I need to probably, that's fine. So let me go here. So I think what might be useful then is within each of these states, I have a, I'm just going to like duplicate this Pareto chart. And actually, no, I don't want to do that one. I'm going to do the one that I did versus 2000 and where was the one I did that was, okay, this is the one that's versus 2008. So let me duplicate that. And let me get rid of the columns, get rid of the rows. I know it's a mess, but that's okay. I'm going to now stick a horizontal in here, and I'm going to put this sheet into here. And on this new sheet, I'm going to go ahead, remove from dashboard. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want this to also have my, where is it here? State match. Nope, wrong sheet. So this is my Spark 4 dash. Do you want to ask them if they want me to keep going?
Well, you don't
time
have
to
that
stop.
much time,
Okay.
but also we want to present other people's business.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. So let me just wrap this up then. Oh shoot. So this needs to have my state match. True. Okay. So this should now just be one state. I'm going to hide the header. Let's see what that looks like now in the dashboard. So if I make this nice and small, and then maybe I'll do one more chart. That is my top 10 counties. So let's see, chain GDP, no, latest year GDP, sort, and then I want that filter on here as well. So state match, true. Okay, and then I want to stick that one. I need a vertical container here. put that inside there. And then where's my bars? Okay, but I want this to just be the top 10. So filter, use all top 10 by latest year GDP. Add that to context. And then fit entire view. Okay, so why don't I stop there, and we can go ahead and I'll finish this up. But the idea here would be I click on Texas, these update to Texas. I click on New York, these update to New York, etc. So I'm very close to done. I just need to do some cleanup on the charts and resize it and things like that. But yeah, and I'll probably maybe add some big numbers, or actually on this map I'll probably do the versus prior year or something like that. So I'm going to stop there because we need to look at the visits that have been submitted. So what?
If you want to open that on a different screen.
Yeah. So just bear with me for 1 second. And we're going to bring up some of the visits that people have asked to be viewed. So any feedback you have about what I was creating would be greatly appreciated. I hope it made sense.
There has been so much chatting about it.
Okay.
But I think people like seeing that what you can do in an hour, but also how much they have to learn. But please, everyone keep in mind, Andy has been doing this for 13 years. Imagine how good you'll be if you do something about 350 days a year for 13 years. You'll be really good at it too.
Yeah, and I know I was going very, very fast there with the formatting and all that, but that was intentional because I needed to try to get done. So we've got maybe 10 minutes. I need to go meet Elizabeth. So well, I'm just waiting to pull up some of the visits that. Come on. Okay, so let me go down. Okay, it's not going down. Weird. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so do we have times here? So let me just pick a couple here.
Oh, there's quite a few, that's great.
Okay, so let me just start here. And, oh wait, I could just, oh shoot. What I should have done was, come on. Copy the link. Okay, and we can't hear Charlie, so
he's
I
off
guess
because of the audio share, so we will present it on his behalf.
Okay.
But if he's still there, he can always comment on YouTube.
No, right.
So this is Paul Albert. Should I do some of the talking and you can do some of the eating?
It's not good.
Okay. So Paul, well done on creating this in, I guess, 60 minutes. Inequality between US state GDPs does not follow if it's inequality, singular. The 80-20 rule, but inequality patterns between counties in each state. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It almost looks a bit like 3D, but I think it's just all these lines stacked on top of each other.
Is each of them okay, so each line is a state or a county. I don't think your Pareto calculation is sorting correctly because they should all go in a curve.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you're sorting correctly. So I don't think this needs to sort by state and county. So double check that because the line doesn't look right. It shouldn't be jagged like this. And I'd probably make the lines thinner.
Yeah.
So you can see them a bit better. Maybe get rid of the circles. Let's see what it is in the tool. Okay, so there's Maryland overall.
So maybe so his title says it does not follow the 80-20 rule, but then for the county it does.
Well, but we don't know if it does because the shape of this line isn't correct.
Yeah, but maybe it's not correct because it doesn't follow the rule.
It could be, yeah. But I would double check because this is very suspicious the way that this is counting across.
I think the title is a bit of a mouthful. Like I think the title as it currently is would be better as a subtitle, and the title just being something short and succinct so people know what they're looking at. Because it's a lot to get your head around, kind of thing.
Okay. So.
But well done on doing all this analysis in such a short time.
Okay, let's look at another one here.
So this is by Zainab. I'm terrible with some of the names, how to pronounce them.
Ayudimeji?
Yeah.
If I had to guess.
So this is the US regions. So she focused on the regions, which is cool. Back in 2018, so just 1 year, because otherwise you get the sum of all the years, which of course isn't all that meaningful. So Far West had the highest GDP, LA accounting for 19% of that in the same year. So that's really interesting. One thing I would probably suggest for the non-US audience, just to give people a couple of points of these counties, like, you know, what counties or what cities are actually in the Far West. I've never heard it referred to as the Far West, but yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's enough dots on here. Make sure you put state and county on here, because it doesn't look like there's enough. I'm going to guess that there's not enough states or counties shown on here. Just double check that. I would also, it looks like you're using the jitter, the random of the jitter. Make sure you change that to an average so it fills up the whole space. I also wonder what it would look like if, because she's calling out, or he's calling out, the 19% in the title or subtitle, would it be useful to have that kind of inside this Far West bar?
Could you mean just moving the text?
No. Have this bar go up to 19% of the Far West.
Oh, okay.
So maybe a blue or something, or a darker, maybe a full black or
and
something. And
you could even then label it with Los Angeles.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. That one's on Twitter. Oh, the links are backwards. Okay, this one was posted at 5:57. Okay.
So some of these might actually have been created during the day.
Oh, true.
And be submitted now, but you know we can't really, we don't want to overcomplicate it.
Top 10 counties in all states. Okay.
I quite like being able to select on the map, but I would suggest to maybe just have the abbreviations as labels in there, because some of them are too big and don't appear, and that way you have a chance. And maybe even making a hex map. And
abbreviations in the data set as well. Again, there's multiple Cook counties. There's multiple Orange counties. I would be careful that this is showing Orange County. I assume this is California, so I'd be careful with that. I don't know why this little line is on the end. Not quite sure why that's there. Oh,
maybe just to show where the end is more clearly.
I don't think the Vision tooltip's really needed. And if I click on a state, okay, it gives me the top 10 within within Missouri, and then the top 10 in Texas. Okay, now the chart at the top, if that's just 2018, I would call that out. So I don't know what it's showing us, so I'd be careful with that. I like the color palette that you chose there. So we did sign up Lisa Rapp.
Oh yeah, I saw that she challenged herself to do it in an hour, and she said she found it challenging. And we had a bit of a chat about it, because my suggestion is that if you time box yourself to that hour, it's easier to make an hour of time than however long it takes. So it might help with people being more consistent in their practice.
Okay, so this is basically just spark lines. You can see them all going up. Connecticut, interestingly, went way up. So I wonder why. Oh, that's the dot's probably on the end. There's probably a second. I would clean your tooltips up, because I imagine you put the 2018 value in there just to get the dot on the end of the line. I'm not sure if you're watching or not, but if you did, I showed how to do that without the need for creating a second calculation. I mean, it shows they're all going up. I think when I looked at the percent change from 2001, it gave a bit better patterns. I don't remember, but it's probably going to be relatively similar. I do like how, first off, I like how they're sorted alphabetically, because then it's easier to find one. I would probably rename District of Columbia to maybe just Washington, D.C., so the label fits. Other than that, I think it's nice. It's a nice, simple design.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, there's some interesting drops here. So this is probably the auto industry going in the tank.
Yeah.
This is probably some kind of oil boom.
And I think in, where is it? Santa Clara?
This is California.
It's just California. Okay. So, you won't see it probably as much, but that spike in, there's a dip, but then there was a bit of a spike in Santa Clara in 2013 because I think some of the IPOs.
Yeah. You can see there's some states that look like they're almost recession-proof, like Colorado, California, but others, a lot of them dipped in 2009 with the Great Recession. Oops. What did I do there? Shoot. What happened? There we go. That's what. Okay, so should we maybe do one or two more?
Brittany, yeah, the next one.
Brittany,
yeah. Because she was actually on last night. She's based in Seattle.
Okay.
And she's back again for session number 2.
Okay, GDP of counties in the United States, where counties I've lived in fall on the list. Okay, so I can see a few of them highlighted. The only question I would be here, Brittany, is what if you lived in a county that wasn't in this little box here? So, oh, there you go. So like Lake County, Florida, I would never know that you lived in that. I'd be tempted to have all of the green ones sorted to the top, so they're first. So you can do that with a calculated field. Yeah, that way all of the, what happened here? What's going on here? That's weird.
Why is Oakland in it?
Oh, it's because there's 0. So, okay, it looks like you've got some sorting issues here because Oakland, Illinois, these all look like they're 0, but then all of a sudden you've got Oakland, Illinois down here. So check your sorting there. But I'd be tempted to move all the green ones to the top. But I do like the idea. I think it's a neat idea. Other than that, it looks pretty good. I like the little small multiples view. Let's see. Oh, well, a lot of submissions here. Let me see here. Let me just grab one. I'm just kind of picking at random. Okay, so this is Nadine Mukandiwa.
Vermont's economic output.
Okay, so focusing just on Vermont, which is good.
That's a big number, so many commas.
Yeah, but if you want to make it really big, isn't it good to have? If you want to make it look like a massive income or a massive economic output, isn't it good to put more numbers?
It is. I just can't even pronounce that number.
It's 18 trillion.
How can one state have 18 trillion? Is that correct? Because isn't that what the whole economy has?
Wait.
Or is it the whole country?
That's 18 trillion. I would suspect that's... Yeah, that can't be right. Not just for Vermont in 2018.
Those are the counties. I think that's maybe the whole country, 18 trillion.
Yeah, this isn't... It doesn't look like it's probably filtered. But let's assume it's correct. The only thing I might do different here is I would make the whole viz a bit taller so that these counties aren't all squished together. Yeah. So give them a bit more room.
And what I would suggest, because this is county level, and as a German, what I learned about the US is state and some big cities, and I think probably a lot of people outside of the US have learned the same. So maybe calling out why Chittenden, like what city is in Chittenden that makes it so, or what industry, or what is it about that one county And maybe even because Vermont is, for me at least, a bit of an obscure choice, so maybe Nadine lives there, but maybe a little interesting fact about Vermont of why you chose it.
Well, she did because it has the lowest.
It's the lowest,
output.
yeah. I just wonder if there's something else to say about it.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one more, and then I need to go. So let me just pick one here, and I'll finish my viz tomorrow, I guess.
Slacker.
Okay, so this looks like a bump chart. U.S. counties largest are no strangers to high rag gigs. Their contribution to the state level GDP tells us in some. Okay, so this must be. Okay, so this is the overall contribution to the country, I would assume. And then this is their contribution within the state.
Okay. Yes.
I think that's what that means.
Yeah. So LA overall to the country and then to their state.
Oh,
California.
No, yeah, I think that's what it means. That's a neat idea.
Yeah.
My only question would be: are these cities? So right now they're the top 10. Are they all always in the top 10, or do you just are you just? Oh, I see. U.S. counties with largest GDPs in 2018. Okay, so that's good. What do you think about the stars? It makes it look like an American flag.
It does, and I actually don't mind them because there's enough space. So, yeah. Oh, that's neat.
There we go.
I think it's actually, yeah, I'm okay with them.
LA's always at the top. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Right. So I think that's all we have,
yeah,
right?
We've gone through it. Maybe just bring up the last slide, so people can, for those who are new or need a reminder, feel free to take a screenshot. These are the places for Makeover Monday. And yeah.
Okay, so thanks everybody for participating. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can get alerts for anytime there's a new live session or something coming up. All the recordings are on there. Tableau Tip Tuesday. Lots of content I put out there for you to hopefully help you along your journey. You've got Eva's YouTube channel on the right there where she posts her weekly video recap, and both her and Charlie's blogs, etc. So yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah, and make sure to publish your stuff to Tableau Public, but also share it on Twitter so we can all see it and applaud it. And I'm going to send out a tweet because I'm curious what you think of the time boxing, what you liked and what you didn't like. So I'm going to send out a tweet and would love to see your responses as well.
Yep. There's a quick question on here. Will mine be posted on YouTube? Yeah, so Forrest, it will. It's part of this video, so it won't be separate. Maybe I could clip it up. I'm not sure. But yeah, I would say just for now, it's just going to be inside of this video.
Yeah. And on Wednesday, we haven't scheduled it yet, but we will. There's going to be a Viz Review webinar as usual. So if you want more detailed feedback, submit your Viz with the hashtag MMVizReview and Makeover Monday. And then we'll speak to you on Wednesday at the usual time here on Andy's channel.
Okay. Thanks,
cool.
everybody.
Thanks,
Have a good
everyone,
day.
and
Bye.
enjoy TC. Bye.